Hello and welcome to yesterday's Airlines. Time for another fleet video, and in this video we're going to be looking at one of the most colourful of the US trunk airlines from the regulated era. That airline is Braniff International, an airline which had been much like the rest up until it got a makeover with its end of the plane designs. And Braniff would have a particularly vibrant history, which obviously all came to an end when it went bankrupt in 1982, but that means that there are plenty of models to show. And if I move across to the US portion of the fleet, Braniff resides in the second trunk cabinet here and takes up the top shelf and a little bit of the shelf beneath it. So you can see, if we move up to the newest Braniff aircraft, we've got the second and third incarnations of Braniff, the Ultra schemes, then the two-tone scheme from the 70s and into the Jellybeans. And moving down, the more classic El Dorado schemes and Panagra, an airline which Braniff absorbed successfully. So that is the fleet that we're going to look through in this video. So as always, I will now open up the cabinets and we'll begin to take a closer look at my Braniff International fleet. So here is the Braniff fleet before the colours got wild. Also on the left we've got Pan American Grace Airways, a carrier which was operating routes down into South America. And you can see here that we've got a DC-6, the El Pacifico, a DC-7, and behind that an early turbojet DC-8. Now Braniff itself had been operating in the South American market, and eventually it was able to acquire Panagra, much to Pan Am's annoyance. And so you can see here we've got a DC-850 wearing the transitional colours. But that's a little bit out of step. First off, if we have a look at Braniff itself from that era, then you can see that they had this rather classic scheme. Here we've got it on an early Lockheed Constellation, and even a Douglas C-47 stroke DC-3. And these fly Braniff colours were also replicated on the freighter fleet, and you can see that there's a Curtiss C-46 Commando. In 1957, Braniff acquired DC-7s or DC-7Cs, and you can see here that they had a slightly modified scheme, and this is where the El Dorado title started to be used in their marketing as they flew down to South America in competition with Panagra. On the domestic scene, that scheme was applied to their domestic fleet as well. Here we've got an early Convair wearing the previous fly Braniff colours, but behind it Braniff was interested in jets, and it acquired the AC-111s and jet props in the form of the ill-fated Lockheed Electra. So up to this point, Braniff had been a relatively stable, not particularly exciting airline, operating, the usual selection of routes in the US from its Texas base, and also flying, rather unusually I guess, down into Latin America. Things all changed, however, in 1965. New ownership at the airline and a new colour scheme, and not just a colour scheme actually, pretty much everything was revitalised, and Braniff ended up really getting people talking with a selection of startling block-coloured aircraft. And this scheme, or this selection of schemes, was originally designed by a man called Alexander Girard. The campaign was called The End of the Plane, though this scheme has typically become known as the Jellybeans scheme. There were 8 colours originally, tended to be more pastel-y colours like beige, as you can see at the back here on this DC-8. One of the colours, periwinkle, was immediately dropped because it signified bad luck, I think, in Mexico. And in 1967, the scheme was given a refresh when Harper and George introduced 8 new colours, replacing 6 of the 8 previous colours. But here we go. If we just look through, there's too many colours for me to discuss them in detail, but you can see that the Lockheed Electras gathered the new colours. Very nice. Braniff also began acquiring Boeing 707s, Series 200s, and also later on, mainly for MAC duties, some 707-300s as well. The 111s equally were painted in this scheme, and Braniff became quite a large user of the Boeing 727 and Super DC-8s in the form of the Series 62, of which we can see there are 4 here. Now obviously there's lots of colours and there's lots of aircraft, so there's lots of potential for schemes, and Braniff has had a reasonable representation in 400 scale here. These BAC 111s are from jcwings, the 727s, 707s and DC-8s are mainly Aero Classics. Now Braniff was a little bit unusual in that when it came to wide bodies, it wasn't interested in the smaller versions, the DC-10 or TriStar. However, like most others, it did have an interest in the 747, and it acquired a small number throughout its tenure. Initially, it just had the single aircraft in this giant pumpkin scheme, and that flew primarily down to Honolulu and back. Okie doke. So that's the first half of my Braniff fleet, covering the early period till 1965 down here, and then the Alexander Girard Jellybean years from 1965 until 1971. So now I'll just skip over to the rest of the fleet, which you can see is in the other side of the cabinet. In 1971, Braniff revitalised its scheme again, and this time came up with a flying colours livery, which was designed by Glenn Geddes. Unlike the previous scheme, which had a rather large number of colours, there were only 4 colour variants for this one. You had orange, two-tone green, a two-tone blue, and as you can see on that 727 here, red and Aztec gold. And Braniff also simplified its fleet substantially in this period. It primarily became a 727-200 operator, backed up by DC-8s. So this scheme is primarily seen on the 727-200 and the DC-8s. However, it did get applied to a small number of BAC 111s, which a couple were kept on stream. The 747 itself stayed in the original colours and did not get painted into this livery. Another pair of schemes that Braniff is famous for is its collaborations with Alexander Calder, and produced these 2 stunning jets, colours of South America and the colours of the United States, the second one for the US bicentennial. And it was this point, as deregulation loomed, that Braniff began to get a little crazier. Seeing deregulation as an opportunity and convinced that it wasn't going to last, Braniff just started expanding crazily, sucking up routes like there was no tomorrow, expecting the market to be re-regulated and to come out the winner. It also started doing things that were less than sensible, like leasing Concords. And although the Concorde never flew in Braniff colours, it did operate Concords on domestic sectors in the United States. Towards the end of the 70s, Braniff had another revitalization of its liveries and resulted in what is known as the Ultra Scheme, a selection of colours that kind of matched the interiors, which by this point had become leather and were designed by a man called Halston. The scheme got rid of the BI logo, which is rather a shame, I always thought, and had this rather unusual Braniff font here. And there aren't that many models in the Ultra Scheme in 400 scale, but there's been a decent selection just recently from Aero Classics. As you can see here, we've got a selection of 727s and DC-8s. Braniff also began to foolishly expand its usage of 747s and try and start a Pacific network, and these gained a version of the Ultra Scheme as well. As you can see, there were both 200s and new Boeing 747 SPs. All of this excess and poor organisation and bad management, and also a massive attack from American Airlines at its Dallas hub, eventually led to Braniff's collapse in 1982. But the Braniff name has been reused multiple times since. The second Braniff, represented by the BAC 111 here and the 727, was a rebirth which initially started at Dallas and then moved to Kansas. It took over Florida Express and acquired 111s, which had often been previously operated by the original Braniff. And that lasted, I think, until, was it 1989? Something like that. You can see also that they've mucked around with various schemes, and this 737-200 here is wearing what was known as the Reebok scheme, a short-lived different livery towards the end of Braniff 2. There was also a third incarnation of Braniff, which is represented by the 727 in the gold, and that was a complete disaster, and the guys running it were pretty much con men, and that didn't last very long at all. So a rather sad end to Braniff, but nonetheless, the airline has an incredibly colourful history in US aviation. These wonderful schemes and bright colours. Certainly a great airline to collect if you're into 400 scale models. Okay guys, well I hope you've enjoyed that look around my Braniff International fleet. As always, like and subscribe to the channel. Check out yesterdaysairlines.com and at Yesterday Airlines on Facebook and Instagram. I'll keep on doing these fleet videos, so keep on checking out for these, and thanks very much for watching.